just
Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 98. On today's episode, we're going to be giving you our reaction to the UCL quarterfinal draw. Let me introduce my co-host, Aldo.
I'm back, guys. I'm back.
Guys, as always, I post a link on Twitter. If you guys ever feel like joining and basically adding to the discussion, you guys want to give your thoughts, your opinions, always feel free and welcome to. Just click on the link and then you'll be able to join. But let's get right into it. UCL draw. We got some big matches, guys. We got some very very interesting ties. Let me share my screen right now and just give you guys the fixture on how it's going to look. But as you can tell, these are the matches that are being played. You have Real Madrid playing Chelsea in the first game. You have Manchester City playing against Bayern Munich. You have Benfica versus Inter Milan. You have AC Milan versus Napoli. Now, that is the quarterfinal draw. But how the bracket is going to look like is actually going to be like this. So as you can see, the winner of Real Madrid and Chelsea is going to face the winner of Manchester City and Bayern, and the winner of AC Milan and Napoli is going to face the winner of Benfica versus Inter. Now, I personally think that the top half, where Real Madrid and Bayern are, I think that side is like the most like the difficult side of the bracket. Like you don't want to be placed in that bracket. I don't think that the teams in that bracket are going to be like, yes, we got like an easy route, but at the same time, if you want to win the Champions League, you have to be the best.
Honestly, I'm kind of sad that we have all those heavyweights in the same bracket because I would have loved the, for example, hypothetically a Madrid Bayern final, something like that.
Well, we could get that in the semifinals.
No, yeah, but like the finals that would have been crazy. But yeah, I mean, we see all the big names in the same cluster, and it's gonna be exciting. I mean, that Madrid Chelsea game, I'm sure you and me can both predict who's gonna win it.
I,
Madrid is the father of the UCL.
Madrid. Okay, so what are your overall thoughts on the draw first? But before we get into like the specific on each game, what are your thoughts
How it's structured?
on how it's structured? Do you think it was a good draw? Do you think the games are interesting?
I mean, no, the games are gonna be amazing. That Madrid Chelsea game, many of us are gonna probably think that's gonna be very lopsided. It could be a very exciting one. The one that everybody's gonna anticipate, that Man City Bayern game, that's gonna be the heavyweight of the entire draw. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be tuned into that one. We know what both teams are capable of. Napoli Milan's gonna be very interesting. Battle of the Serie A.
Yeah.
Napoli has been having a phenomenal year. We see if they can continue it and cut to the semifinals, or if Milan can continue to find some success at some level.
Mm-hmm.
And that Benfica inter match, in my opinion, that's gonna be the most difficult one to predict.
You think that one is the most difficult one to predict?
And we'll get more into it later, but that might be the most difficult one for, in my opinion, to predict.
Okay. Well, okay. So let's dive into the first game, into the Real Madrid Chelsea. Now, Real Madrid going into this game as the heavy favorites. They beat Liverpool 5-2 at Anfield and 1-0 at home. And Chelsea they lost to Borussia Dortmund away from home 1-0, but they came back and they beat Dortmund 2-0 at home. Now, I would say Real Madrid go into this tie as heavy favorites just because Graham Potter is the manager. If, for example, Thomas Tuchel was the manager for Chelsea, I would say Chelsea have a very good chance of advancing. Just because to beat Real Madrid, you need a very tactical plan. and he's one of those managers that has that in his arsenal. Um,
No, you need a manager that can break the pace of the game, not go along with the pace.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Because, for example, what are you going to do with Graham Potter versus Ancelotti for Real Madrid? A manager who isn't
exactly.
tried, who isn't tested at
Exactly.
this level of the elite football. But one of the things that I've been seeing is that people are giving Real Madrid the title of heavy favorites, but at the same time discounting what Chelsea can do. Because, for example, if Chelsea stick with that three in the back, and they bring back N'Golo Kante, and they shore up that midfield with Kante and Enzo Fernandez, a World Cup winner, and they basically are able to work with a set of players, I think Chelsea can have a favorable chance. And knowing that the second leg is at Stamford Bridge, that's a huge advantage for Chelsea. Um, just Chelsea are going to need to improve a lot going into this tie, but I definitely see Real Madrid advancing. Though I think Chelsea are going to give Real Madrid a tough fight. Just I don't think it's going to be enough.
I agree with you. I think Madrid advances here. Chelsea, a team with, I mean, we all know the names that they have in that team.
Yeah,
We know what they could be capable of. It hasn't been clicking for them. And honestly, for a team that has stuff to figure it out, it is very hard to figure stuff out on the moment, like as like on the go when you're
hmm,
facing Real Madrid in the UCL. Real Madrid in the UCL is a different animal. We know that.
yeah,
And a
definitely.
team like Chelsea that has question marks on how to move forward as a team, the last time you want to figure it out is in the middle of a game against Real Madrid. They're gonna have trouble adjusting. I don't see. I would love to see an interesting game. I don't see. I see a little more lopsided than many of us think, but we'll see.
So you have no chance of Chelsea advancing in this game.
I that would be a major upset.
Okay.
Just the way both teams run, and just like you said, the directory. Graham Potter is not Ancelotti. Ancelotti's been here before. He knows
No.
what to do when he is rock bottom in the middle of a game.
Mhm.
We'll see. I will be shocked if Chelsea advances, but
I think Chelsea's main problem is that even though, well, their defense has been solid at times, just it's their attack.
yeah,
They can't score
it's the
goals.
attack. It is definitely the attack, and yeah, sure. Let's say you're able to maintain a clean sheet against Madrid somehow.
I
Ties don't do shit. So
Yeah, it's going to be very tough for Chelsea to maintain that clean sheet. But they definitely, if for example that home game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But I definitely have Real Madrid advancing. Now Manchester City versus Bayern. Now the narratives in this one to go crazy. You have Sane going back to Manchester City. You have Cancelo. Um, how that was working out. But Manchester City finally have a difficult draw. What like when you look at the previous games that Manchester City have had, they've always had like easy draws, Leon, Porto, all these teams, and they finally have a difficult draw. Now, I think Manchester City do go into this tie as favorites just because of Holland. Holland scored 5 goals in the last game. 5 goals. That's insane. The only other player that knew that was Messi. Um, and this is a competition that Manchester City need to win. And it's going to be super interesting, especially knowing that Bayern, the second leg, is going to be at the Allianz Arena. Well, what do you make of this tie?
honestly, I think I'm gonna stick with Bayern here. Um, Man City, you know how stacked they are. We showed all the firepower that they have in that team. They completely annihilated RB Leipzig. This is gonna be an extremely fun and interesting game. It shouldn't be people that think that's gonna be lopsided. You're wrong. I do expect it to be a 2-1, 2-0 at most type of game. It is gonna be a very difficult one for both sides.
Okay.
But again, just like Madrid, Bayern knows this better than anyone. And City, I mean, I respect City a lot, but we gotta see how they adjust in this case. And Bayern's a very different team from anything from any other teams that someone faces in the UCL. So in my opinion, I see Bayern advancing, but it's not a 100%.
Okay. So,
It's
so,
not.
so so Bayern, you have Bayern beating Manchester City.
I do.
Okay. Do you think their striker could be a problem? Choupo-Moting being a striker, because even though like Bayern have lost Lewandowski, I think Choupo-Moting is a very good. He's a good striker. Sometimes the profile of a player matters in the quality. For example, in those systems, just having that fixed nine that allows others to like work off of him, that works very well. And Choupo-Moting isn't that bad of a striker. He's gotten some goals against Barcelona, and he got a goal against PSG. He put in some very good performances. Um, just and Bayern have been improving defensively. They have 100% record in the Champions League, so far this season. They won every single game, and they haven't. The only goals that they conceded was against Victoria Pilsen. They've kept out PSG out. They kept Barcelona out. They kept up some very tough teams out.
And that's what I'm saying. They have not had an easy road, and they continue to be a tough road. We can see that even if they beat Madrid, they still got. Even if they beat a City, they still got to face potentially Madrid. So,
Yeah.
but like you said, the team has already beat all these teams. They know what to do. They know what to get done, and I honestly
Okay.
I see a Bayern win.
Okay. So you see a Bayern win. I am actually going for a Man City win. I
Okay,
think
okay.
that Holland.
Haaland hat trick.
Yeah, I think that Holland is gonna show up in this game. I think Holland is gonna
I
be
could see
that
it.
that difference maker.
I could see it.
Um, and I think Manchester City have a chance of going all the way. But next game, AC Milan and Napoli. Now, I think Napoli are one of the teams that have been playing the best football so far this season. Napoli are absolutely flying in the Serie A. They've been doing really well. Um, and you saw their good performances in the group stage against Liverpool and against Ajax. Just the thing is, in this, people would say Napoli is 100% going to advance because this isn't a great AC Milan. This isn't the AC Milan of the 90s or the early 2000s. Um, but a knockout game is different than a league game. The way you approach a game is completely different. You you, you set up differently. The mentality is different. The way you approach things is just completely different. Now, I see an upset in this game just because Milan, remember, they have won the Champions League 7 times. They're the club with the second most Champions League titles behind Real Madrid. They are football heritage, and I think this is one of the games that Milan can upset if they basically set up in a very compact defensive unit and just be like, you know what, let's be solid at the back. Let's not give Napoli spaces because Napoli are a team that are great in transition. Um, just the thing is that the second leg is going to be at the Maradona Stadium, which is going to be very difficult because Napoli is going to be playing at home. But I fancy Napoli going through, but I could see an upset. Well, what are your thoughts on this game?
I see it pretty straightforward. I think Napoli has been the best compared to their league. Napoli has been the best team in Europe in comparison to how they've performed in league and every other tournament outside of that. They have been near perfect. I
Okay.
think that Milan showed their most of their 100% against the Spurs, and it really wasn't that impressive. I do think Napoli comes and takes away from Milan and moves on to the semifinals. There's not much to say. We've all seen how incredible um, Milan has been, and that's another game that I will be shocked if Milan advances. I don't see how Milan is able to recover from in the second leg, or to even get to some cushion in the first leg.
Okay, so you Napoli advancing. Okay, okay. And now, lastly, Benfica versus Inter. Now, this is a very interesting tie because Benfica
And
are
that's the match that I told you.
okay, okay.
It's the one that
Benfica,
I have no trouble predicting that one.
okay. I actually have Benfica as favorites. It's going to be tough going away to Italy for that second leg for Benfica, but I think Benfica are a very solid squad. They're very balanced. They have some very good players. Uh, Ramos. They have Otamendi. They have such quality in their squad. Rafa Silva. Just they're very balanced, and this is a team that topped the group in the group that had PSG and Juventus, and against an Inter side that isn't that great. I think both the Milan teams are the weakest so far in this competition, and I think Benfica fancy their chances, and so do Inter. And Inter, you saw against Porto, they were defending really well. Um, they gave some very good performances, and with Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez up front, if they play a smart game, you are going to get chances. And against a Benfica side, which you're going to be playing at home, you have the advantage. Now, but I do have Benfica advancing though. I think Benfica have been playing one of the best football so far in this season, and I think they're a very strong team. They're definitely one to keep an eye on for me.
I completely agree
They're
with
my
you.
dark horse.
I mean, I've told you. I feel like this game's gonna be the hardest one to predict, in my opinion.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe all the other three games are upsets. I think this is hard one to predict, in my opinion, because both are good, strong teams. I think you described everything perfectly. I think they're both teams that they are underdogs. Whichever one makes it past this round, they're both gonna be underdogs. Even Inter is a bigger name. They're still gonna be underdogs, even if they beat Benfica.
Mm.
And these two teams are they're strong, gritty teams. They know they know what they need to fight for. And honestly, I'm gonna say, hmm, I'm I think I'm gonna stick by my initial prediction. I'm gonna say by my initial prediction that I had in my head, I'm gonna say Inter, and
Inter. Okay.
that might bite me in the ass because again, that if we come back to this video and I hit three out of the four games and the fourth game is Benfica Inter, I'm him. I'd say it myself. The prediction might be off, but I'll say it.
Okay. 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 So now in the semis, you have Real Madrid versus Bayern. Who's winning that one? Because here's the thing, I personally do not want Real Madrid to be in the final at all because I think if they're in the final, that they win it, and Real Madrid in finals they don't lose unless it's Barcelona, of course. No, but it's gonna be tough. Do you have Bayern beating Real Madrid? I don't know.
I'm thinking. No, yeah, I'm thinking right now. Do we play the diary of the UCL? What do you
I
think?
mean, I mean, this is exactly why I have Manchester City because I fancy Manchester City more against Bayern. I mean, against Real Madrid because you saw last year that Manchester City were the better team against Real Madrid. If it wasn't for those countless missed chances, Manchester City could have put in Real Madrid to bed. And Erling Haaland, he's putting those chances away. And the biggest difference between Real Madrid last season and this season is that they don't have a Ballon d'Oro campaign from Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema had last year had his best season ever. I don't. He is not going to replicate that, and that's exactly why I don't have Real Madrid making it past and making it to the final.
Honestly, if it was to come down, I'm gonna give you two scenarios. My
Okay.
prediction and conflict what you said. If it is Bayern Madrid, I'm gonna say Bayern. Here's why.
Bayern.
Here's
Okay.
why. We saw last UCL how Madrid was able to come back against City. Bayern runs this right after Madrid. Bayern has been running the UCL at least deep into the rounds for years now. I feel like Bayern can adjust way better to Madrid's game, and that way be able to get on the offensive side better
Okay.
than City can. Then again, I might be talking out my ass. I do believe that Bayern has a chance to beat Madrid.
Ooh.
That's another iffy one. If it was, and this is my second scenario. If I was to say that City beats Bayern, which I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. That's honestly why that was more 50-50 to me. I'm just gonna enjoy the shit out of the game because it's gonna be un juegazo.
Yeah, it's gonna
City
be
Bayern. If City was to advance, I think Madrid wins that. Personally, I
okay.
think Madrid, even with Haaland and how hot he's been, I still think Madrid has a chance to win that. If it's Bayern Madrid, I'm gonna say Bayern.
Okay, so you have Bayern in the final on this side, and Napoli versus Inter.
I think Napoli, dude.
Napoli. Okay,
Again,
so you're saying it's gonna be a Bayern Napoli final.
dude, Napoli is playing way too well, and I think that they're not one of those teams that cannot translate their league success into a Europe success. I do believe that Napoli is the Cinderella story. They have a chance.
Yeah.
If it comes down to Napoli Inter, that's probably the most confident matchup I will feel about. That's probably the game that I'll be the most confident on deciding who will win the game in this entire roundup.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think that Napoli will be Inter, whether it's 1-0 or 5-0. I don't know, man. That's one game that I'm
Okay.
confident in saying that Napoli will win.
Okay. Okay. I instead of having Bayern and Napoli, I have Manchester City and Napoli
Okay.
reaching the final.
Okay.
Those are my two finalists. And here's an interesting stat: whenever someone, a first-time winner, has won the Champions League, they have never won in their first appearance in the final. So, if Napoli are to win the Champions League this season, they're gonna have to do something that's never been done in the history
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
Champions League, which is win the Champions League in their first appearance in the final. I think Manchester City. This is their year. This is the year where they win the Champions League, um, and they basically add that to the trophy cabinet, and they basically join the elite of football.
Yeah.
Uh huh. Um, but guys, that was our reaction to the UCL quarterfinal draw. Um,
Well, so real
do,
quick. So real quick. Who do you see lifting it?
who do I see lifting it? I see Manchester City lifting the trophy. I think
No, yeah,
they're.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, because I got confused. I thought you derailed for a second.
Oh,
Um, yeah, we'll see.
okay.
I see again if it comes out to Bayern Napoli, I want to say Bayern.
Bayern. Okay, so guys, Alvaro has Bayern Munich winning the Champions League. I have Manchester City. Now, guys, comment down below. Who do you think is gonna win the Champions League? What do you guys think of these draws? Comment down below. Give us your
If
thoughts.
I'm gonna say this right now, you can clip this right now if you want to. If Napoli wins the UCL, I will buy myself a Napoli jersey. I am
Yeah.
not kidding.
If Napoli wins the
If
UCL,
Napoli wins the fucking UCL,
guys,
I,
clip
I,
that.
I will buy myself a. You guys can decide which jersey I buy. I will buy a
Um,
Napoli jersey.
but definitely, definitely. But guys, as always, I post a link on Twitter. If you guys want to join, feel free. Click on the link at Kool Aid Podcast 10. Just click on the link. and then you'll be able to join. But guys, that was it for tonight's episode. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. We see you guys all on the next episode. Peace out.